On the South Wales coast, on what is now the Gower Peninsula, lies the ruins of Pennard Castle. Many years ago, it was said to be owned by a fierce baron. A baron so fierce that everyone feared him. Even his own men shook in fear when he so much as looked at them. The King of Gwynedd in North Wales was at war, and on the brink of defeat. He sent a messenger to ask the Baron for his help. The Baron was happy to help, but wanted to know what would the king reward him with for his loyalty. So the king sent another messenger with a royal scroll, declaring that he would reward the Baron with anything he desired if they won the war. The Baron agreed and thought of much riches as he marched his men north. After many days marching, they finally arrived at the battlefield. Without further ado, he sent his men sweeping down the hills to attack the enemy camped in the valley below. On seeing this, the King of Gwynedd rallied his men and joined the battle. The battle was short-lived and the victory was decisive. The king was overjoyed. He threw a big banquet in honour of the Baron and asked what would the Baron like in return for his allegiance. The Baron paused for a while and then said, "You have a beautiful daughter. I would like her hand in marriage as my reward." The king's daughter was his only child, and she was young and had lived a very sheltered life. Some said she spent her days with the fairy folk and was often found talking with them. But she was flattered by the Baron's request and agreed that she would marry him. On return to Pennard, the Baron ordered a great feast as a celebration for his upcoming marriage, and there was much drunkenness and debauchery. The princess, seeing this behaviour, wondered, had she done the right thing? How could she live with such a brutal man? Then a cry rang out from the guard. "An army is approaching. A large army is coming this way. They're making their way to the castle, my lord." The Baron rushed out into the darkness, swinging his sword with his men following behind. The mists confused them, and all they could do was swing at the ghostly flickerings of lights that swirled around their heads. Finally, the Baron collapsed with exhaustion. His men nowhere to be seen or heard. This was no army that he had attacked. This was a host of the fairy folk. They had come from near and far to attend the wedding celebrations of their friend, the beautiful Princess of Gwynedd. Surprised by the attack and the hostility they encountered, the fairies in their defence conjured up a huge sea storm of great wind, thunder and lightning, the likes of which had never been seen before. The storm raged all through the night, and in the morning there was very little left after the ferocity of the fairies' onslaught. The castle lay in ruin, engulfed in a mountain of sand. The Baron, his armies, the princess, and all the courtiers were never seen again. Some say that the princess was taken back to the Twilight World and was honoured as a princess and a friend of the fairy folk, where she could come and go at her pleasing, and often visited her father at his castle, while the Baron and his men were enslaved and forced to do the fairies' bidding for all eternity. Sometimes, on a stormy moonlit night, when the mists come down, it is said you can still hear the faint beating of drums in the distance. Sometimes you may see the flickering of lamps through the mist and hear the laughter and whimsical banter of the host of fairy folk as they approach the castle and again come to honour their beautiful princess. And there ends the story of Pennard Castle and the fairies' revenge.